Hey, what's up guys, welcome to my channel. Please don't forget to subscribe and let's reach 1000 subscribers and I will post videos on a regular basis. Also, use the super ninjutsu power to like this video and don't forget to write in the comments which anime you want me to cut. Finally, turn on the bleach bell and let's go! The anime starts with the pink-haired guy tied to a chair in a strange room and the teacher at the magic school Satoru Gojo sits across from him. Next we find out that his name is Yuji Itadori, and not understanding what is going on, Satoru says that he is destined to die. Returning to the past, Itadori calls his grandfather who is in the hospital, but he yells at him and hangs up the phone. At night, an unknown person doesn't find the cursed item and continues to look for it. At school, Itadori sits with his friends in the occult club, but school management wants to close their club because only 2 people are in this club, and Itadori is enrolled in the sports club because the teacher enrolled him there. At this time, a cursed creature is walking around the school field. Teacher invited Itadori to win him by throwing the ball. Coming and throwing the ball, Itadori wins it and goes to the occult club, and the same unknown person was watching all this. Itadori ran past him and this hunter sensed that he has the cursed item. In the evening, Itadori came to his grandfather. He told Itadori to help everyone and then he died. In the hospital, the same hunter who turns out to be Megumi Fushiguro, a student of the magic school, meets him. Megumi asks Itadori to return the cursed item back and reveals that curses kill people and they appear because of the negative emotions of a person in public places. He sees that the cursed item is not there because Itadori gave it to his friends, and they open it, and it was a human finger, and then called curses. Megumi summoned the god dogs and began to destroy the curses when suddenly he saw how one of them began to absorb Itadori's friends, but Itadori flies in through the window and saves his friends. While trying to give back the cursed item, the huge curse destroys the wall and tries to eat Megumi, and Itadori tries to save him, but the curse catches him and tries to eat him. On the brink of death, Itadori decides to eat this finger when suddenly he destroys the curse with a single swing and Sukuna owns his body and is about to arrange a massacre. But Itadori takes control of his body back and Megumi says that he has become a curse and is going to kill him because only curse can kill a curse. Suddenly, Satoru appears at the place of the fight and Itadori tells him that he ate that finger. Satoru asks him to switch bodies with Sukuna for 10 seconds and we find out that Satoru is the strongest mage. At this time, Sukuna attacks him, but Satoru dodges all of his attacks and the fight begins, in which Satoru prepares to strike, but after 10 seconds as required by Satoru, Itadori regains control of his body and he puts him to sleep with only 1 finger. Megumi asks Satoru to save Itadori from the death penalty. Back in the present, we find out that Itadori has control over his body, which means he has become a vessel for Sukuna. Next, Satoru reveals that there are 20 fingers and they only have 6, all of which are the fingers of Sukuna's 4 hands. The elders wants to kill Itadori, but Satoru suggested that Itadori eat all 20 fingers and then they would kill him because if the vessel dies, Sukuna will die either. While talking to Satoru, Itadori agreed to absorb all 20 fingers and die, as it would save many people. Satoru gives him a second finger and Itadori eats it, when suddenly Itadori becomes crazy and Satoru prepares to kill him. But Itadori comes to his senses and Satoru smiles at his choice. Megumi and Satoru take him to a magic school in Tokyo. Arriving at the school, he will have to pass an interview with the director, otherwise he will be killed. Satoru tells how cruel Sukuna was during the golden age of magic. The strongest magicians were unable to kill him, and after that, he became a cursed object. Next, we're introduced to the principal of the school, Masamichi Yaga, who makes toys. The principal asks tricky questions and Itadori is being attacked by the principal's toy because Itadori follows his grandfather's will. After all, when he dies, he will also blame him. Itadori dodges the toy's heat and says that he is the only way to kill Sukuna and he doesn't want to be sorry because people might get hurt and the principal takes him to the school. In the room, Satoru said that finding fingers is very difficult, but with help of Sukuna, finding them will be easier. At the train station, Megumi, Itadori, and Satoru meet the third freshman, Nobara Kugisaki, who isn't happy with her classmates. Satoru takes them to a place where there are many curses. He brought them here to taste their strengths. Since Itadori is unable to control the cursed energy yet, Satoru hands him a cursed energy weapon and asks him not to release Sukuna. Entering the building, they look for the curse. Finding none, they split up, when suddenly Itadori is attacked by the curse, but he cuts it up with few blows and it dies. Satoru tells Megumi that Itadori doesn't think with his brain and jumps at all curses, but in this task he wants to taste how crazy Nobara is. Having met the curse, she hits the nails with a hammer and destroys it, and notices a frightened child, when suddenly the curse grabs him and takes him hostage. Then she throws away her weapon and surrenders, but the curse doesn't give up the child, when Itadori suddenly appears from the wall and cuts out the hand of the curse and saves the child. But at this time the curse is trying to escape. Immediately, Nobara uses the voodoo technique and hammers a nail right into the chest of the doll and destroys it. So we had told how in the first grade she met a girl who came from Tokyo. Her name was Saori and they became friends, but the locals mocked her and she left. Itadori asked her why she entered the School of Magic. She told that she just wanted to leave the village and go to live in Tokyo and meet Saori someday. Together they walked the child home and went to eat. Further, we are shown how in July 2018 a special level curse appeared in the sky in the juvenile colony, and we are told how freshmen were needed for this mission, and one of them died. The freshman came to the place and found out that there is a curse in the second block along with the jailers. Next, we are told what levels of curses exist. Level 4, a wooden bed is enough. Level 3 can be killed with a gun. Level 2 need a shotgun. Level 1, you will need not a single tank to kill the curse, and the special level, you need a bombardment. Satoru couldn't come and the other students were busy, so they only have to gather information and rescue the hostages. The magician lowers a veil that can protect people from the curse. Entering the prison, they saw that the cursed energy had enveloped the building. After they found the corpses of 3 people, Megumi tells Itadori just to pass by, and Itadori wants to return the corpses to their families, and they start ball outing, while Nobara is taken down and the dog is killed, and a special level curse appears next to them. Itadori tries to hit him, but he cuts off his hand, and at this time Nobara is surrounded by curses. Itadori asks Sukuna to help him, but he doesn't mind dying and not helping. And at this time Megumi went to save Nobara and Itadori was badly injured trying to resist his energy. While Megumi rescued Nobara, Itadori started crying because he doesn't want to die, but remembering the director's words, he created cursed energy in his fist and realized that his friends were safe. Then he gave control of his body to Sukuna. The curse attacked him, but Sukuna recovered his hand and parried the blow. A fight began during which Sukuna mocked the curse. Sukuna decided to punish this curse and used the territory expansion technique, and the curse was cut in several pieces. Taking one of the 20 fingers, he burned his body. Unexpectedly, Itadori lost control of his body and Sukuna felt the power. Moreover, in the street, Megumi felt that the curse had died and Sukuna appeared behind him and said that Itadori will not return. When he suddenly rips out Itadori's heart so that if he switches his body, he will die. Sukuna is the third finger. Megumi wants to defeat him so he can get Itadori's heart back, and the fight ensues. But Sukuna dodges all of his punches easily and then hits him. Using his Shikigami, he attacks Sukuna but he slams him into the buildings with a few hits, and Megumi falls exhausted. Megumi uses Shadow to create Shikigami. Further, we find out that Megumi's sister Tsumiki received the curse and never get out of the bed again. Gathering all his strength, he decided to give his best, and he told the whole truth that he didn't want to save Itadori, but Itadori saved him that day, and he will never regret it, because Itadori is a good person. And at that moment, Itadori returns to his body and dies, falling to the ground. Well, we see how some curses and one human arranged everything that happened in the prison on purpose. At the morgue, Satoru questions the magician who sent the freshman on this mission, and in all his anger, he thought of killing all the elders, but Shoko Yeri enters the morgue and is about to inspect Itadori's corpse. Meanwhile, in the street, Megumi and Nobara are discussing his death, and she is crying. Suddenly, Sophomos approaches them. Maki Zenin, who is the best at using cursed weapons, Toge Inumaki, a spellcaster who uses his voice as a weapon, and Panda. Also, there should be Yuta Okotsu, but he is abroad. They came to call for exchange program with the school of Kyoto. Further, we find out that in 2 days, 2 directors offered their competitions. Mostly there will be battles. But at this time in cafe, those unknown curses are trying to negotiate with the person to kill all people, but he offers to do 2 things. First is to eliminate Satoru Gojo, and second is to lure Sukuna and Itadori to their side. And at this time inside Itadori's body, he approaches in front of Sukuna. Itadori is very hostile towards Sukuna and immediately attacks him, but Sukuna dodges all of his attacks and mounts him. Sukuna offers his 2 conditions. The first is after the ward extension, Itadori must transfer the body to Sukuna for 1 minute, and the second he will forget the whole conversation. But Itadori doesn't agree because he thinks that he will kill a lot of people in that minute. But Sukuna claims that this will be a pact, and he will not kill civilians because the pact will be beneficial to boss. Itadori disagrees, at which point Sukuna makes a bet that if Itadori beats him, he will resurrect him without any questions, and if he loses, Itadori will have to accept these terms. Itadori is overjoyed and wants to kill Sukuna, but he instantly cuts Itadori's head off. At the morgue, Satoru reveals that he doesn't like the system that currently rules. He could kill everyone, but no one will support him. So he became a teacher to educate young students. Well, at this time, Itadori wakes up and Satoru is happy about this. Satoru asks Shoko to hide Itadori's reveal. Meanwhile, at the cafe, one of those curses, namely Jogo, is burning all the people and he is going to personally kill Satoru. On the field, the freshmen practice with the sophomores, while Satoru teaches Itadori how to use the technique and the cursed energy. While trying to strike the palm, Itadori cannot create the cursed energy as he did before. Satoru reveals that it's possible to create cursed energy from emotions and offers to watch movies and gives him a toy that will beat him if he doesn't pour cursed energy into it. While watching the movie at its most exciting moment, the toy hits him and Satoru asks if Sukuna offered him terms when he was leaving, but Itadori doesn't remember their dialogue. While driving home, Satoru feels a huge cursed energy, and at that moment, Curse of Fire Jogo jumps on him. Using his technique, he sends a huge stream of cursed lava at him, but Satoru protected himself with just one hand and the battle begins. Satoru examines the enemy and waits while Jogo attacks with his bugs that make a sound and explode. Then Jogo blows up Satoru's head and heat from behind blows him up. But Satoru stays alive, saying that he didn't hit him, but he hit Infinity, which covers all Satoru's body. And he reveals that the closer attack is, the slower it moves. Grabbing his arm, Satoru delivers several devastating blows. Satoru's magic is Infinity, which he brings to life. The movement, the divergence combined with the void, he creates an inverse ball which scatters Jogo and he starts to run away. But Satoru catches him and throws him into a small lake. At that moment, Satoru arrives with Itadori, who has learned how to generate and control the cursed energy. From all the anger, Jogo uses the expansion of the territory and everything covers with stones and lava. Satoru reveals that using this technique burns a lot of mana, but strengthens the one who created it. Inside you can either resist or run away, but this is impossible. Suddenly, Satoru himself uses territory expansion, and because it's more complete and strong, his territory overwhelms Jogo's territory and he falls into an endless void. Jogo can't even move because everything inside repeats endlessly. Satoru instantly rips Jogo's head off and asks, who ordered to kill him? Well, at that time, the same unknown person and the curse were watching all this. The same curse uses a mesmerizing technique and grabs Itadori in an attempt to kill him, but he is saved by Satoru, and the curse grabs Jogo's head and runs away. In their hideout, we find out that the name of the unknown is Suguru Geto, and at that moment, Jogo and Hanami appears, and another cursed Mahito who sits there. On 31st of October in Shinobi, They are going to seal Satoru. The next morning we find out that the director of the school of Kyoto is coming today, but students may be coming either. While on vacation, School of Kyoto third year students Mai Zenin and Aoi Todo attack them, when suddenly Aoi asks Megumi what type of girls he likes, and if Megumi answers incorrectly, he will kill him. But Megumi is not going to answer the stupid questions. But in order to avoid a fight, he answered the question. But the answer was boring and Aoi knocked out Megumi with one blow, and Mai attacked Nobara with a gun to her body and the fight began. Further, we find out that Aoi single-handedly defeated one special level curse and 5 first level curses. He only uses techniques at the special level and is a pro in melee. Megumi summoned his Shikigami, but Aoi scared them and landed a lot of hits, but Megumi got angry and tried to hit. Suddenly, the Sophomores came and saved Megumi and Nobara. The two sisters met and started arguing, and Nobara started to choke Mai. After all, they left. Further, we find out that Maki doesn't have her own cursed energy, but she became a magician because she wanted to prove her family that one day she could become a great magician even without cursed energy. At this time, the director of School of Kyoto met with Satoru, and he said that their rules are already outdated and there may be soon a riot, because the strength of the students is growing every year. A month later, in September 2018, 3 corpses of school children were found in the cinema, and we see how a boy approaches Maito, who killed the school children. Then Itadori and Kenta Nanami came to the cinema to investigate this incident. At school, that guy was attacked by bullies because the girl deceived them that he was staring at her. Then he came to watch a movie and there were the same guys, and from all the hatred he wanted to take revenge on them. And then Mahito appeared and killed him. At the cinema, Itadori and Kento were investigating the crime scene and seeing the cursed footprints. They followed them. And before that, we find out that Satoru couldn't go on a mission with Itadori, and therefore the former mage investigator Kento went with him. Kento thinks that the guy did it and 2 curses appear near them and he's going to destroy them. Kento explains how his technique works. He uses a cursed energy to create a cursed place on the enemy and inflicts a critical hit. But Itadori doesn't understand him because he's busy with another curse. Kento uses his technique. He cuts off the limbs of the curse and ends the fight with the red blade. In addition, Itadori accumulates cursed energy in his fists and beats the curse, tearing his body. Itadori's technique is called the Divergent Fist. Suddenly, they realized that these curses were people. Their bodies were changed by the cursed energy. Shoko further explains that they have already died because of the shock as a result of being turned into a curse. In the Sua, Mahito deceives the schoolboy who the cursed spirits are. Cursed spirit is the fusion of the curses and people. He also said that the land, water and forest have always frightened people, and a lot of cursed energy was sent to them, and they gained wisdom and hate. And Mahito is a curse of hatred and fear of other people. In the evening, we find out that this student's name was Junpei Yoshino, and Itadori will work with Kuyotaka Ijichi because they will have to find Junpei together, whereas Kento will go to crime places and find more information about the killer. Next, Itadori and Kuyotaka find Junpei and follow him. At school, Junpei and his friends are sitting in the movie club and discussing horror movies when all of a sudden bullies come into the office and kick them out, attack Junpei and then beat him up. In the Sua, Mahito shows Junpei his experiments on people. Mahito convinces him that people don't have a heart but only a soul, and Junpei takes the path of evil. While being chased, Itadori and Kuyotaka want to send the low-level curse on Junpei and see what he will do. Next, we find out that magicians of the same level are sent to curse spirits. In the Sua, Kento finds Mahito and they start to fight. Striking Mahito, he dodges and Kento critically hits and breaks his arm. But Mahito heals his arm and tells that his technique is to touch the soul of people and change their forms. At this time, Junpei's teacher asks him about the dead students, but hatred and anger burn inside him, trying to use the technique and kill the teacher. Suddenly, Itadori fails the task and approaches Junpei to ask him few questions, and they live together. Next, we see how Mahito changes the souls of people and attacks Kanto. Suddenly he sees one of the souls crying and Mahito wants to experiment on him, when suddenly he jumps and touches his body by changing his legs. Cursed energy cannot protect person's soul, but Kanto was able to do it. By trying to escape, Mahito catches up with him and Kanto decides to deal with him seriously. All the time, Kanto limited his energy. In an attempt to kill him, he uses a partial expansion technique, destroys the wall and gives some of his cursed energy to the debris. Then, after chopping off his leg, he walks away and sees how rocks fall on Mahito. Well, at this time, Itadori asks Junpei and he already knows that Itadori is a magician because Mahito told him about them. During the conversation, they became friends and discussed movies. Junpei's mother came for him and they all went to their home for dinner. Moreover, Suguru Geto came to the place of a battle and we see how Mahito survived. An injured Kento calls Kiyotaka and tells him to come to get him. Thinking about Mahito, he realizes that he is still a child who has appeared recently and who doesn't yet know how to create an expansion of the territory. Well, at the Junpei's house, they all sit together and have dinner. Itadori says that Junpei has a very good mother, but he doesn't remember his mother at all. Late at night, Junpei's mom wakes up and sees Sukuna's fourth finger on the table, and a curse appears from behind her. Kento then tells Itadori that Junpei's mother was killed by a cursed spirit, and asks Itadori just to keep an eye on him. Further, we find out that Mahito set it all up and deceived Junpei that some rich man did all this. Near the school, Mahito created a cursed whale from which it's impossible to escape. He also revealed that he did all this just to summon Itadori and take Sukuna from him. All the students have fainted and Junpei approaches the rich guy who was bullying him, thinking that he left his finger at his house. Junpei is poisoning his body, but Itadori suddenly appears and prevents him from being killed. Before all of that, Kento and his partner found a lot of curses in the same sewer. Itadori called him and said that he was going to save school children and turn off the phone, and Kento, leaving his partner alone, went to help Itadori. Kiyotaka didn't let Itadori pass, but Itadori just ran past him. Well, at this time, the battle between Itadori and Junpei began. He sealed Itadori in the tentacles of the jellyfish, and further, we find out that Junpei's curse technique is a poison, and his Shikigami releases poison from the tentacles. Itadori breaks out and throws Junpei out of the window with a few blows. Falling to the ground, he attacks Itadori, but he fights back. Itadori brings him back to the previous floor with one blow. Itadori then tries to put him on the right path, but he gets confused and lets Junpei's Shikigami hurt him. Itadori then approaches him, promises not to be cursed again and offers to go to magic school with him, when Mahito suddenly appears and captures Itadori. Junpei realizes that Mahito deceived him, and then Mahito changed his soul and turned him into a curse, and he attacked Itadori, who asks Sukuna to help him return his human form back, but Sukuna refused to help him and began to humiliate him, and Junpei was in tears and fell down. Suddenly, Itadori hit Mahito and hit his soul form, so Mahito bled, and Itadori got very angry that he started attacking him non-stop. So Mahito changed the shape of his hand, but Itadori caught him and hit him, and Mahito wounded him in the stomach and trying to turn him into a curse. He met with Sukuna and was afraid of all his strength. But at this time Itadori remained alive and began to hit his head with his head, and throws a lot of punches. But Mahito teleported behind and wanted to hit him. Unexpectedly, Kento parried Mahito's punch, asking where his blood came from. Kento came up with a plan and a 2 versus 1 fight began. Mahito attacks first, but the magic team dodges all attacks and then they attack him back. But he changes shape and decreases in size, after which he directs his changed people at Itadori because Itadori cannot kill people, whereas he attacks Kento and catches him. Suddenly, Itadori jumps out of the window and together they start beating Mahito, and for the first time he felt death. Gathering all his strength, he uses the expansion of the territory and hands appear everywhere, and inside only Kento and Mahito, while he pushed Itadori away, and Itadori didn't get there. Then we see Kento's memories. In the past, he was in cafe and bought a sandwich. Leaving, he saw a low-level curse on the saleswoman's shoulder and went to work in the office. All the time Kento was thinking about money. He told the saleswoman what kind of job he has and that he has no goals in life, and then he killed this curse and quit his job and went to the Magic Academy. Inside the territory, he accepted death, but Itadori broke the wall of the territory and entered inside. Hitting Sukuna's soul a second time, it rips open Mahito's shoulder and the area explodes, causing Mahito to fall to the ground bleeding heavily. Itadori instantly tries to attack him, but Mahito enlarges his body and he uses the Divergent Fist technique, after which he blows up Mahito. But he changes his body and runs away, and Itadori falls to the ground due to the blood loss. Mahito is surprised by Sukuna's aura and now he wants to kill Itadori. At the morgue, Itadori confused of having killed people today. At the end of the day, Itadori returned to school and we find out that Junpei has died and the teacher has punished the bully. Sometime in the mountains near the mineral water, Jogo restored his body when suddenly Mahito and Suguru come to him. Mahito said that it's better to stick to Suguru's plan first, which is to collect all the fingers and give them to Sukuna. First, they need to take 6 Sukuna's fingers from the Magic Academy, because Academy wants first to collect all the fingers, feed them to Sukuna and then immediately kill him. But Satoru wants to feed the fingers right away. Meanwhile, Satoru asked Kento where Sukuna's finger is, while he gave it to the school authorities. Itadori runs to them and asks them to go to school as soon as possible, and Satoru says that he will arrange a surprise. At the academy, the students are informing Nobara that this year's students exchange program will be in Tokyo because Yuta beat all the students at the school of Kyoto last year. Suddenly, all the students of the school come to them. Mai Zenin, Aoi Todo, Momo Nishimiya, Ultimate Mihamaru, Noritoshi Kamo, Kasumi Miwa and their sensei Utahime Iori. Satoru arrives late and brings a box from which Itadori comes out, and everyone is shocked that he is alive, including the director Yoshinobu. The program will last 2 days. On the first day, a level 2 cursed spirit will be released, but there will be also a level 3 on lower spirits. The team which killed this level 2 curse will win, and if no one kills it, then the team that kill more spirits will win. Well, there is a meeting among students of School of Tokyo in which Megumi and Nobara introduced Itadori to the sophomores. While during the School of Kyoto meeting, their principal Yoshinobu orders the students to kill Itadori, but Aoi left after arguing with everyone. Sitting in the observation hall, Satoru told Atahime that there is a spy in the magic college who works with curses or a curse master, and he wanted her to investigate it in Kyoto. Before the start, Megumi approaches Itadori and asks if everything is alright. Answering yes, School of Tokyo begins its journey to victory. Satoru announces the start of the exchange and everyone starts moving together. Seeing one curse, Maki runs toward it, but Aoi instantly destroys it and Itadori attacks him first, while everyone separates and Itadori becomes bait for Aoi, because they planned it all from the beginning. The fight between the two starts and Aoi starts beating Itadori, but he gets up and they start talking to each other. Aoi asks the same question, what types of girls you like? Itadori says that he likes tall women with big booties like Jennifer Lawrence. And Aoi imagines that he and Itadori are best friends. In his dreams, Aoi confesses his love to Tsukaga, but she sends him off and Itadori supports him in a difficult moment. But in the present, he cries and saying that they are now best friends, while suddenly all the students of the School of Kyoto surrounded them and try to kill Itadori. But suddenly Aoi claps and Itadori switches places with Noritoshi. He orders the other students to leave because he will deal with Itadori himself. While in the sky, Megumi's Shikigami knocks Momo down, and at that time Megumi and Maki attacks Noritoshi and Kasumi, because before that they felt that the other students were going to kill Itadori and Toga went to look for the curse. Itadori and Aoi hit each other hardly. Aoi marvels at Itadori's strength, after which Itadori hits hard and he yells that his curse technique is wrong. Next, we find out that the level of a magician is rising by the recommendations of other magicians. But teachers like Satoru cannot promote their students. Aoi says that the hands cannot outrun the eyes. With these words, Aoi wants to help Itadori to improve his techniques. When Itadori beats Aoi and throws him to the ground, preparing to win him, Aoi stops his attack with the forehead strike. Aoi says that the cursed energy taken from the negative emotions is collected in the navel and distributed throughout the body till the fingertips. This prevents the accumulation of cursed energy in one part of the body. Itadori understood all this, and the second round began where they will not spare each other. In another part of the forest, Panda and Nobara questions Momo, but from the bushes, Robot shoots at Panda and he falls, but he abruptly gets up and hits the robot, and then we see how a terribly injured person controls the robot. He uses his technique and attacks Panda, first with the drill and then with the cannon, but he withstands all of his attacks. Further, we find out that Panda became Masamichi's greatest masterpiece and gained emotions. Angry Panda began to beat Robot, then the person controlling the robot said that from the birth he would be sick and injured, but could only use curse techniques at long distances, when suddenly he shoots lots of fire but Panda protects Nobara. He changed his body because the elder brother and sister live in Panda, and he has 3 cores. The Panda core is balance, the Gorilla core is a short battles, and the shy sister that Robot hit at the beginning. While he hit the Panda core with the last attack, Brother Gorilla attacks Robot, but he runs away from him. Robot delivers the final blow to the Gorilla's core, but he changed the energy of the core and then tears off the Robot's arm. At the end of the fight, they began to communicate as friends. Mihamaru lost and was eliminated. Well, at this time, Maki delivers strong blows to Kasumi and she falls into the river. Kasumi then uses a simple territory and the cursed energy wraps around her katana, but Maki starts throwing weapons at her and steals her sword. All this was watched by the teachers and Mei, who only thinks about money. And suddenly, talisman lights up red because Panda killed the spirit, which means that the school of Tokyo get a point. And if the talisman turns blue, another school will get a point. So in another part of the forest, Nobara fights against Momo and she hits Nobara with her broom. She also says that Maya grew up in a family where there is no love but only contempt, because women are not respected in their clan. Nobara used the water technique and tore off part of her broom, and with one blow of the windmill, she disabled the broom and hit Momo with a huge toy mallet. Trying to hit again, Mai shot Nobara in the head with the rubber bullet and she fell unconscious. Suddenly, her elder sister Maki appears near Mai and a fight begins. Mai shoots first, but Maki cuts her mallet and hits her. Remembering the past, their relatives were always discussing 2 sisters, one of whom cannot see the curses. Maya has always marveled at Maki's courage. After leaving the clan, Maki promised to return and become the head of the clan. Maya aims at Maki, but she distracts her with the sticks. Maya started to shoot her sister after cutting the 6th bullet. She was preparing to hit, but Maya fired again because she used the casting technique and created the bullet. Thinking she won, Maki caught the bullet and Maya started attacking her, but she hit her and won. Mai said that she didn't want to be a magician and was upset that Maki left, but since the childhood, Maki wanted to become a magician. At the end, Maya and Nobara were eliminated from the exchange. In another part of the map, Megumi is fighting Noritoshi, a master of archery and blood control. He shoots his bow, hits the ceiling and punches Megumi hard. After covering his eye with the bloody, he strikes Megumi. With the blood technique, he can change his speed and strength. Well, at that moment, Robot called Kasumi and said go to sleep, and she fell asleep, and it was Tage. As a result, she dropped out of the exchange program. Suddenly, he felt the strongest energy, and we see how the director of the school of Kyoto specially prepared the curse and turned it against Itadori. Hanami has killed this curse and Tage prepared to attack. Maito himself also came to this forest. Further, we find out that Noritoshi's mother was his father's mistress and he became the heir because he is the only son of the head of the clan. Megumi exchanged blows with Noritoshi and he revealed that he wanted to kill Itadori for the sake of 3 clans. Megumi's Shikigami attacks Noritoshi, but it was a trick, and he creates a new elephant Shikigami that emits a jet of water, and then he summons the Shikigami of lightning and hits him with a strong shock. But Noritoshi uses the blood and captures the bird. Trying to hit each other, a huge tree appears behind them and they start to run away. While in the teacher's room, all the signs light up red and they realize that someone trespassed into the forest. A huge tree caught the 3 students and the bold enemy created a veil that only Satoru could not pass through. Director Yoshinobu and Sensei Utahime decided to go inside and met that bald man. The director takes out the guitar. Well, at this time, Hanami appears in front of the students and breaks the phone. They all start attacking together, but he doesn't feel the blows and the spirit began to communicate with them, explaining that he wants to protect the nature. When Toga stops Hanami's punches, they all run away and attack together, but Toga's power runs out and he starts coughing up blood. After recovering, he approached the spirit and pushed it away, but Hanami survived. Maki attacked from behind and broke her weapon. Next, we find out that the cursed items have 4 levels and Maki takes a special level weapon and then hits Hanami. We also were informed that if Megumi's Shikigami is killed, he will no longer be able to summon the same one, but its power can be transferred to others. After this, he summoned a chimera that attacked the spirit. Then, with a joint attack, they cut Hanami's horns, but he injured Megumi and Maki. If Megumi uses techniques, the plants on his chest will go deeper and deeper inside. Then Itadori and Aoi fall from the sky and save them, after which Momo and Panda take away all the wounded, and the fight against Hanami begins. Aoi is not going to help Itadori until he uses the black lighting technique. Moreover, at the same moment Itadori started attacking Hanami, but he cannot use this technique because anger interfered with Itadori. Black lighting is a very strong technique that is 2.5 times stronger than a normal strike. Attacking Hanami, Itadori uses black lighting and hurts Hanami's arm, but suddenly he rips off the back from his second arm and starts attacking them. But they dodge all of his attacks and they both hit him, when suddenly he cancels all his techniques and they start to fall and dodge air attacks. After this, they fell to the ground. Aoi asks Itadori not to stop because he doesn't have time to explain to him how his technique works. Aoi's IQ is equal to 530,000 tells him that they will win. Hanami throws out Aoi and he flies into the spikes when suddenly he claps and they switch places. Here we find out that thanks to the claps, he can change places with whomever he is comfortable with. They then run together and beat up Hanami, and he cannot figure out who will be switched with him. Ento says that black lighting is very difficult to use more than 1 time, while Itadori uses black lighting 3 times in a row. Then they begin to exchange blows and different techniques. Hanami and Itadori hit each other. Hanami then uses his technique and releases the 3 seeds, but Aoi swaps them. And Aoi condenses his body with the cursed energy and defends himself from the seeds. Aoi swaps Itadori and the cursed weapon and breaks its horns. And Hanami absorbs all the life energy of the plants around it and prepares to release huge cursed energy and territory expansion. But the whale disappears and Satori appears in the sky. Next we see how the old director fights the bald man. Another enemy attacks Utahime, but Mai and Nobara approach her. Suddenly the whale disappears and the enemy starts to run away because Satori removed the whale. First he rips off the arms and legs of the bald man and then he uses the blue ball inversion technique and the red ball devastation. And then Satori combines them and a purple ball appears and he shoots it at Hanami and this ball destroys everything on its way. In the layer we see how Satori's technique hit Hanami and he falls to the ground without his super arm. Next, we find out that Mahito stole all 6 of Sukuna's fingers and special items, eggs of death. Well, it was impossible to find the correct door because Tengen changes the location of the doors every day, but thanks to Sukuna's special finger that killed Junpei's mother, Mahito was able to easily find and take the fingers. After which, Mahito left with Hanami. In the teacher's room, Kiyotaka told how many people they had lost. And that bald man told about a contract with some monk, but no one knew about what he was talking about. In addition, in the student's room, Itadori and Nobara are happy that Megumi survived, and he congratulates Itadori for becoming stronger and promised to become stronger either. And suddenly Aoi appears and Itadori starts to run away from him. After a 1-day break, students decide to continue the exchange program and they start playing baseball. At this time, 2 directors are sitting and discussing Itadori. Yoshinobu is not happy that Itadori is still alive, and Masamichi says to give Itadori some time and just watch him. At the end of the game, the school of Tokyo defeats the school of Kyoto. In one of the days, a man yells on the phone and a huge curse appears behind him. And then we find out that 3 people who studied at the same school had the same problems and they died in the same way, but at different times and in different places. A cursed spirit at the entrance to the house stabbed them all. their friend, was also killed at the entrance to the house. Then our heroes came to the school and met an employee of the school as well as students, and they said that one day these four didn't come to class and their parents found them unconscious under the bridge and they didn't remember what happened to them. In their lair, Suguru and Mahito shoved one of these cursed objects into a man's mouth and he turned into a curse. Arriving at the bridge, our heroes didn't find anything, and then Megumi's classmate said that she also went to the bridge with Megumi's sister, and now she has problems with the door of the house and she is afraid to go there. Megumi understands the seriousness of the task and sends his friends home, and he's going to do everything himself, and we find out that his classmate deceived him, and coming under the bridge, Itadori and Nobara returned back to help him. After all, Megumi revealed that his sister Tsumiki was cursed and unconscious right now. At this time they crossed the river together under the bridge and entered the territory of the curse. But on their way, they come across a special curse created by Mahito. This curse starts shooting blood at Itadori, but he dodges all the attacks and starts hitting him and then pushing him away. While Megumi and Nobara is trying to exorcise the spirit, but they cannot find the main body of the curse, when suddenly someone steals Nobara, and that special level curse jumps into this hole followed by Itadori. Megumi thinks that he has exorcised all the curses, but the last major curse left is Sukuna's finger, and these two special level curses have come to take it away. At that moment, the curse started attacking Megumi and he hit his head and passed out. Megumi gathers all his strengths and uses them to finish territory expansion. Everything under his feet is covered with the puddle of shadows and he starts using all his shikigamis. But the curse destroys his territory and unexpectedly gets stabbed in the back by the Megumi's chimera, and Megumi defeats him, taking his finger, after which he falls to the ground and turns off. At school, Megumi was beating all the bullies and was saving the weak, but his sister Tsumiki was a very kind person and studied with him at the same school. We also find out that Megumi's father and Tsumiki's mother fell in love and disappeared, leaving the children alone. But at this time, Satoru meets Megumi and tells him that his father is from the Nin clan and he wanted to sell Megumi to this clan, but Satoru prevented this and saved him. After which, Megumi decided to become a magician. In the 9th grade, Tsumiki fell victim to a curse and fell into a coma, and Megumi realizes that he was a very stupid person and wants his sister just to wake up. At that time, a special curse ran towards Megumi hiding his back, when suddenly Itadori and another curse saw his back and angered him. But Nobara hit him in the head, and then he used his blood-roading technique. He starts attacking them with blood and they start to run away, but another curse catches up with them and splits blood at Itadori, and another curse hurts Nobara. Further, we find out that if this blood gets on the body, then over the time the body begins to rot. In ancient times there was a girl who could give birth from a curse. She didn't remember how she became pregnant and fled with the corpse of a baby to the temple. There was Kamunori Toshi, the meanest magician and the shame of 3 clans. And then he began to experiment on her, but all 9 children died before birth, and the first 3 miscarriages turned into special level cursed items, and their names are Choso, Eso, and Kichizu, and they only live for each other. Suddenly Nobara pierced her arm and used the voodoo technique. Itadori started hitting Kichizu as the poison had no effect on him, and Eso ran to protect his brother. However, he almost died, and in order to save his brother, he dispelled the technique, and Itadori started fighting Eso and Nobara with Kichizu, and both of them unleashed their strongest techniques. Nobara used her hairpin technique and instantly killed Kichizu, but Eso jumped into the car and ran away while Itadori chased him. Nobara used the voodoo technique on Eso's arm and wounded him, while Itadori, in a state of flux after black lighting, dealt the strongest blow and killed him. At the lair, Mahito, Suguru and Choso were playing a board game and Choso felt that his brothers were dead. Returning to Megumi, he gave the finger to Itadori, but Sukuna ate it. At the office, Satoru transfers 10 million yen to Mei to find the traitor. Megumi and Nobara agreed not to tell Itadori that Sukuna caused all of these things to happen, while Aoi, Mei and the principal of the school of Kyoto nominate Maki, Panda, Megumi, Nobara and Itadori for the first level. At this time, Satoru bequeaths his students a task and they joyfully leave. Hey, sorry. Please don't forget to subscribe. It will really help me. Goodbye.